directors and chair the festival's Education and Community Engagement Committee. We are delighted to have you join us this afternoon for our inaugural virtual masterclass featuring world-renowned cellist Alban Gerhardt. Mr. Gerhardt was scheduled to perform Samuel Barber's cello concerto with us this summer before our season was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Today's masterclass is made possible through the generous support of the festival's members and donors, with special thanks to our lead sponsors, Abelson Taylor, BMO Harris Bank, and William Blair. For more information about all of the festival's virtual programming, please visit our beautiful new website at gpmf.org. It is now my great pleasure to introduce you to Hilary Mercer, the Grand Park Music Festival's Education and Community Engagement Manager, who will be moderating today's masterclass. Please enjoy the program.
Thank you, Amy, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first ever virtual visiting master's class. Now, not everyone may be familiar with what a masterclass actually is, so before we get started, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what you're going to see today. Over the next 90 minutes or so, you'll get a unique view into the incredible journey that our young musicians are on as they work really hard to become the next soloists on our big stages, just like the Pritzker Pavilion in downtown Chicago. These performers will play a solo for you, and then they will work one-on-one with a master of the craft in a public setting. When we launched this Visiting Master series last summer at the Chicago Cultural Center, I had many people comment to me that even if you're not a musician, really watching a masterclass like this, they gained a deeper appreciation for the music in general that they were listening to and how we use our bodies to create this music. But they also learned a few lessons about life along the way. So sadly, we're not able to do this in person this summer, but we are really excited to bring you this experience as part of our Festival Remixed programming. And now I'd like to introduce to you our guest artist, Alban Gerhardt. He's been touring around the world for the last 25 years as a soloist and chamber musician. And just last year, he released a new album of complete cello Bach suites. So we are so excited to have you, Alban. And if there's anything you'd like to say to start us off.
Yes, hello. I'm very happy to be at least virtually in Chicago. I love that city, so I was very disappointed when I heard the concert got cancelled mid of July. But at least I'm close to you now via the web. Yeah. And you asked me to say something what I did during the pandemia, I think. So I didn't do much. I was quite lazy. I enjoyed my free time. I enjoyed not having to learn a couple of pieces I would have had to learn. But then when it started getting a bit too long, I thought I should be creative. And since I'm very lazy, I chose this format, it's called Patreon, where people subscribe to my channel, and by them being there and paying as little as €3, it gives me the pressure to actually do something. Otherwise, I would just sit home and read books and play with my child. So actually, I've been I'm busier than when I have to perform, because when I have to perform, I'm just traveling and practice a bit and then enjoy my life. Right. But with this Patreon, I had to teach myself to become a video artist. Here's some camera, and I bought all that stuff. I'd never done a video before in my life, so it's a new skill and it's actually fun. I mean, I miss playing concerts. This is a brand new world. I played a couple of concerts last week. I live in Madrid. I spent 2 months in quarantine there, but then last week or 2 weeks ago, I played 8 times Haydn D major in Darmstadt, where they replaced the big Dean concerto with 2 times Dean. I played 8 times Haydn instead. Oh my God. And last week I played in a car cinema, like in the 60s, 70s. They had the car cinemas. I did that with Bach suites. I played 3 Bach suites for 20 or 30 cars, and they had it was open air, little stage, and they picked up the cello with a microphone and sent the sound quite beautifully recorded into the car radio. So people were in their cars watching and listening, and I hope they liked it.
Well,
But now
I think
I have a,
with the COVID, I think this will be the new way. It's forcing us to be creative about how we share and enjoy music and educational experiences, both in person, like you said, as in a drive-in setting, or even like this over Zoom. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We have three wonderful students joining us today, and our very first student is Kaylee Holiday. She's a 17-year-old student at one of our partner organizations, Merit School of Music. She's a conservatory student and a Chicago Musical Pathways Initiative Fellow. And here she is performing the Saint-Saëns Cello Concerto First Movement.
Bravo, very good.
Wonderful.
Hi, Kelly. Wonderful. Will I see you or I just
Yep,
see
she
a
is
standing
coming
picture
one
now?
second.
Okay.
There she is.
Hello. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. I like very much your position at the cello. Actually, you look incredibly natural behind it, and I mean I couldn't see how you sit because that was cut off. But just the upper part looks very good. You have the cello even a bit, so the neck is not so close to your neck, which is something I learned very late. Somebody told me the cello should be a little bit like this, and you're doing it. So that I think that helps. Also, it doesn't look as unhealthy, and you look very natural behind the cello, and I love the energy. At some points, maybe a little bit less would be more. I mean, in the tender passages, it was very nice, but in the louder ones, I think it could be a little bit more. Well, I hate saying that, but French. It doesn't mean that. I mean, there are a lot of French people who can be quite strong and powerful, but a little bit more gallantry or elegant. It's not. I mean, it's not really a forceful concerto. It's a beautiful concerto, but I don't think it needs as much strength as you put in it. That said, you're right. We have to produce some sound to fight against an orchestra. But to start at the beginning, you have the music there. Do you know what the dynamic is in the first bar for the cello?
Mezzo forte.
Yeah, but I'm not blaming you. I mean, practically everybody starts at fortissimo, which is a pity because I mean, Saint-Saëns started with a strong beat on the one. So whenever I play the piece, I ask the orchestra, please, you have forte, I have mezzo forte. Often orchestras start with a fortissimo, then we feel like, oh God, now we have to fight for our lives. But I would rather see it. I wouldn't. In German, we say we shouldn't shoot our powder like the gunpowder in the first few bars. So keep. I mean, you cannot start mezzo forte. The expectation is people want the beginning, but have a beginning with a bit more inside tension than immediately go like but a bit more. You're not. Don't tell us everything yet. Wait, it's not a long piece, but actually it feels like a long piece since it's there's no single movements. I mean, it goes through. You just played the first movement, yes, but it's all connected. So whenever I play that, I know it's a student concerto, but I think it's one of the hardest pieces. I don't know. I've never been quite happy with how I played it. I find it quite difficult. Already this beginning. I mean, just this. This is so simple in a way, but I don't know, to get the excitement there without giving it all away. So try once to play it a bit more, I wouldn't say introverted, but underneath a certain, like, so it goes like ram. Somebody is telling you something, but under the hand it's like this, still quite a secret. So try it once. Very good. So, now, there is an accent on the first note, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I mean, it took me a while, but not to recognize that. When I was your age, I also thought, oh, accent, yay! But actually, accent can be anything. It could even be just like with a vibrato. I mean, in this case, also a little bit attack is fine, but I wouldn't do nothing too muscular. Rather inside. So try maybe with a little. Can you give it like? Well, it's a bad picture, but like a little electrical shock in the left hand, like try once. Oh yeah, try once without doing the bow, just with the left hand, just the first note. Like a exaggerate. That's I like the vibrato, but try once without the bow. I mean, just as an exercise. Try without doing the accent with the bow, but just the left hand. Yeah, very nice. And now do a little bit with the bow, but don't use the full bow. Not, but it's just like. So that's and watch, hear these with a lot of tenderness. Don't let the not too short the solution. No, the resolution. That's the word. No. And what would be nice also, that's tough, I know, but can you play once really slow? You do this little accent, so like. So vibrate every note, just as an exercise. That was very nice. I the down bow at the end I liked very much. Your up bow here, I'm exaggerating. So don't try not to accentuate the resolution. So like, I know normally with the up bow we want to play louder, but try this diminuendo. There's a little hairpin, isn't there? This like there's almost like a little threat. Somebody is warning you. So you're telling the secret and somebody tells you, you watch it. So party. So think also almost more legato, as if it's. I know there's a little rest, but kind of play over the rest. Don't cut it. So do once more the same with the vibrato. I liked so in that slower speed. Very nice, very nice. When I play that piece, that's how I practice. I practice that slow and with this, because I don't want the scales to sound like scales. So da blah, 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 body. So to tell a story in these, what is it? No, it's not triplets. Is it triplets? Oh yeah, it's triplets. Yeah. So and I mean, until today, I'm playing that piece since 30 years, more or less, and still I have a problem. Have you played it in concert?
No.
It's so hard. You sit there and you tuned, and then you wait, and then puff, and the fingers run away. So you really with the vibrato, that's a trick. You can stop the fingers of running because you don't. I hope you agree. You don't want it to sound like an etude. So you don't want it like a technical exercise. It's not a virtuosic gesture either, is it? It's like like something rather like this then. And you played it actually very nice. Your fingers didn't run away. So I was like, oh God, she's good. She doesn't run away like me. Coward me. No, it's just like when you get the nerves, like it goes quick. So I maybe you don't have bad nerves, but I had very bad nerves when I had to play the piece for the first time. It's like okay, now then after you play that. Actually, I mean, it's the natural thing to play this like little. So you play, but actually, it's not what Saint-Saëns wrote. There's no indication that it's suddenly piano. So I would start. I mean, a lot of great cellists played that way. But if I was you, I mean, with 17 years old, stick first to Saint-Saëns. He was quite a good composer. So try to take it quite literally what he writes, and then you can come up with your own stuff. But what you did there, you followed the tradition, and I'm not blaming you. Everybody does it. But try to see maybe be a rebel. Say, okay, everybody's doing it, I'm doing it differently. So you could do and so on, so and then sorry. And now, you know what it says now in the score?
Poco animato.
Yes. So that didn't happen when you played, and often it doesn't happen in performances. So actually there's a sudden like a wind blowing from behind, and you're like ah. So it definitely shouldn't sound and it was a little bit slower when you played it even. So I wouldn't wait. You played no, sorry. And here you waited. I wouldn't wait. And this is what Saint-Saëns wrote. He writes the ritardando in the last bar, doesn't he? So very little. So, and I know the tradition is to add almost an entire bar. So what I do when I try to do what Saint-Saëns wrote, I play quite a big diminuendo. So I start. But there's not even a fermata on the E, isn't there? So everybody goes like 1, 2, 3, 4. But for all those who are watching and don't know the score, this is a dotted quarter note. So it's like 1.5 beats. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I started the wrong. Sorry, it's 3, 4. No, I cannot. Sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And this tradition of holding it forever, there's one simple reason. I'm waiting for the conductor and the conductor is waiting for me, or the cellist is waiting for the conductor, so that's why they wait forever. It's quite difficult to get it right, as Saint-Saëns wrote. And for me, just because something is difficult is a bad reason to change the composer's will. So maybe try to find a version where you play that rhythmical. I won't force you now to do this, because this bowing is very hard, isn't it? I can just as a slow practice if you do it without notes, like. So you see, my elbow goes into the string. So that's the slow motion. But to practice that now, we are running then out of time. That's why I actually completely dislike masterclasses, because you go like hopping over the piece, like, oh, try this, try that, and the poor student gets confused and at the end plays worse. I mean, plays less good than before. So please don't play less good than before. It was so good. Try once the ta 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 ta. And don't wait forever at the top. That was now in perfect rhythm, but that's what Saint-Saëns wrote. Well, now you played almost without retard. So now try to make it that you like it. So that's try to convince yourself that it's nice. So you maybe start the retard even before. So you start quick. So you saw I would say now I did a molto ritardando. He only says ritardando, but to go as he writes, it becomes quite too much of a surprise. So start the retard a little earlier, but then that way you can keep his wish of not having a huge fermato on the E. Try maybe start the retard on the F natural. Start on the F maybe right now. This is hard. I know. I mean, I played it out of tune before, so this is not an easy piece. It's so funny. Like, oh, a student concerto. I've heard that twice in concerts by really good cellists, and I was not happy. And with myself, I'm not happy. It's really tougher than you think. Also, at this beginning with all these little different characters. I mean, with the Dvorak, you like you go la la la, but the Saint-Saëns, this immediately in the first 3 bars you have 2 characters, and then comes this other character. So it's quite. I mean, the German word is filigran, like very fine natured. That's why I don't want you to show too much muscle at the beginning. Later, yes, but in this, be more subtle in all what you do. Now, because time is running out, let's see. There is something actually very nice. You know, when it comes the next time. Have you realized he does not put a poco animato there? So there actually you can stay in the same tempo you have before. You don't have to rush forwards. But what happens after? Tell the listeners, what is the next indication he gives us?
Then it's another, it's a cello rondo.
Exactly. It's an accelerando. Nope, I've never heard it. I mean, I tried to do it in the last 10 years, but the accelerando starts here. Sorry, wait, how to go? Pass. So actually, we need that. This passage is an accelerando to a new tempo. So this. That's actually supposed to be a quicker tempo, because he has this long accelerando. And what does he say there? What's the indication? I forgot. I honestly forgot. Sorry?
Can I look at the music?
Yes, sure. Because I don't remember. I hope it says something quicker. Otherwise, I'm screwed. What does it say?
Animato.
Yay! In fat print, no?
Yeah.
So it's like a slightly different tempo, and it's actually quite nice. I mean, and this is an appoggiatura, so you cannot do. Actually, my teacher, when I was your age, the teacher I had between 12 and 18. Okay, that's a German inside joke, but you know, you're not supposed to copy the music. That's against the law. So in German, copyright means Nachdruck. But Nachdruck also means this. So it's a word game. And my teacher said, oh, you see, copyright. So Nachdruck is forbidden. So he forbade me he hated that, and since I was 18, I knew I must not do that because it's written in the score, even though it has nothing to do with it, I know. But don't. You don't need to. You play well enough. It's an effect which he didn't indicate. He puts the accent on the A. So if an accent, the G doesn't need to be loud. I mean, it cannot be soft. And I tell you again why many people play it that loud, because obviously you're not the first one. It's because the orchestras are not coming. Because cellists play it with too much freedom, even though the composer says accelerando, but they play to so the conductor is waiting there. Da 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 da. So the cellist goes like. But if you tell the conductor, okay, just go accelerando. The drrr is strings doing doing that. And actually, if the conductor really dares to come in, it's really cool. The whole passage becomes so dramatic and so exciting. So I won't force you to do that now, but try to do it. Don't listen to any recordings. I mean, there are many wonderful recordings. Forget about any recording. Just pretend the piece was just written for you, and be aware it was quite a good composer. So then go for it. You played that very well, then, but it should be faster. So really, you could practice that. You know how to practice quick stuff? You know, with the metronome, and you put it on slow and slowly faster. Some people don't. I mean, some people, really? There's a metronome? But I mean, you have good rhythm. You don't need the metronome for rhythm, but for speeding stuff up, it's so helpful. And be patient. Just like 5. You start with whatever, 65, then 68, 71. Really small steps. So that you hardly realize you get faster, and suddenly you're in the super speed. And everybody will be like, whoa! Never heard it like that before. Also, I cannot, on my, how does it go? So really carry it over. Don't all the stop and goes. You can really take the momentum with you and go to the top. Don't slow down. Again, the slowing down is the poor cellist. He plays and then he sees the conductor still up. So ba 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 ba, calm down, please. Oosh. So many traditions come because of that. There's not enough rehearsal time, and then we wait for each other. And then young people like you, they say, oh, they waited. Okay, I want to wait too. No. Just because we are idiots doesn't mean that you should repeat our idiot, whatever it's called. There was one little more thing. Oh, this here. If you ever get to play that piece with orchestra. Yeah. What's the difference between you and me? In our playing, what I just did in comparison to what you did. Did you see what I did differently to you? Except that I played more out of tune?
That, like that was gentler.
Oh, I didn't even want that. Yeah, if it was gentler, then yeah, is a good point. But I played it, you played it very nice and soft, but you played it on the fingerboard. And that sound, as beautiful as it sounded in your room there, this sound won't carry through what's happening in the orchestra. There's a lot of happening. I mean, the horn is doing stuff, and the other ones, whoever's playing there, I forgot, sorry. It has been a while that I played the piece. But it's quite an elaborate play. It's not easy to get together, by the way, with the orchestra. So I don't need you to play loud, but... just closer to the bridge. Ah, God, I cannot play. Well, I just baked 10 pizzas for my son, and my fingers are still greasy. Sorry, and I'm a little dirty. Sorry, but it's holidays. All my concerts cancelled. I have holidays. So really stay in the string there without... You don't have to play loud. You're right, it's piano and you played piano, but give it a bit more overtones. The closer you play to the bridge, as you know, I'm saying it to the people who don't, the closer you play to the bridge, you have more overtones, and they will carry you over a horn, French horn, for example, well, unless the French horn plays too loud. So I guess that was half hour, wasn't that? So we have to go on, I guess, with the next one. Thank you very much. Beautiful playing. Hope to see you next time in real time. Bravo. Bravo.
Great job, Kaylee. Thank you so much for this wonderful performance. So I'm going to take you off video here, and we are going to introduce our next candidate.
Brendan.
And we're going to bring in Brandon Chang. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Brendan. Nice to
So
meet
Brandon
you.
is also 17 years old. He is the co-principal cellist of the Chicago Youth Symphony Orchestra and also a scholarship fellow at the Music Institute of Chicago. And here he is playing Bach, the prelude to Bach's Cello Suite Number 6.
Bravo, very good.
Great job.
Excellent, Brandon. Yes, actually, I never know how to teach Bach. It's a disaster. And actually, this morning for my Patreon channel, I recorded a video where I talk about how to play Bach. Or actually, I confessed it's like I'm like Socrates. I know that I know nothing, and I know nothing about Bach. So I in this video I only talk about what I do and how I see it and my journey with Bach. So actually the prelude of that suite plays quite a big role, as I love playing it, and I often use it as an encore because it's such a beautiful piece. And one thing I mention, which some smarter guy than me told me, that I don't know if you heard about that theory, it might be, I mean, you probably agree that that's our Bible and it's the most important thing for cello and blah blah blah. This guy told me that Bach probably wrote these pieces as etudes for whatever instrument, whatever shoulder, this bracha whatever thing. So that's quite a strong statement, but one can see how. I mean, the 6 suites, they kind of develop in something more and more difficult, and each, especially the preludes, deal with certain problems. And I think our job as performer is then to really completely forget that this could have been meant as an etude ever. And the most meaningful experience I had with listening to Bach suites, I don't know what your favorite performance is, but my favorite performance was by a French cellist called Christophe Coin, and he played the D minor suite, and he played it really like a free improvisation. It was as if he was making up the piece in the moment. So it's and for my opinion, especially Bach can be played freer than Saint-Saëns. With Saint-Saëns, I think it's all quite there. One should play quite as noted. I mean, with breathing and freedom to a certain extent. With Bach, actually, at least I think it's nice if it doesn't feel like we know where it's going, and it's not quite clear where this journey will lead us. And I'm in that video I have it quite present still because I just talked it into the camera 2 hours ago. I talked about my worst experience ever on stage with the 5th suite, which I had just learned and memorized, and I had to play it in front of a couple of hundred people in Wigmore Hall with BBC Live Radio, which is idiotic. I should have played it somewhere else before. And on that stage, I realized that I really didn't know the piece, but there was no music. So I looked my way through that piece, and I had to be careful not to be too fast because I didn't remember the notes. And the gavotte, I even had to start twice because I didn't remember. And at the end, the producer who knew me well, he loved it. Audience loved it much more than anything I've ever played by Bach before. It was, until then, my most successful performance of Bach. So this, because I wasn't sure. It was like, okay, where do I go? What comes next? I was so scared. It was like my worst nightmare. I promise. I thought they would boo me off stage. And then people, I mean, and if we play a wrong note, who cares actually at the end of the day? And even starting a movement wrong, who cares? But this kind of searching quality is, for this music, I think, quite essential. And you played it very well. Intonation was almost super. I mean, almost perfect. I mean, there's few things which are horrible to play anyway. But it was a bit too, and I don't mean, I mean, you did stretch at certain notes, but there was like the rhythm. You did da 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 dee, da 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 da. It was quite on the rigid side, which is definitely a good first step. But then I would even be more rigid. So if, as a first step, I would not even do the waiting for certain notes, because actually for me, the optimal thing for Bach would not be ta 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 ta, like stopping at notes, but ba 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 ba, like it continues. I mean, I'm not expressing myself well. You have this, yeah, the pulse just doesn't stop, but it changes, and you're looking, but not like single notes stopping. Single notes having a different color, yes, but not the da 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 dee da 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 dee da da, this kind of stuff. So I would first start quite even, but then find the freedom where you want to go. So now a bit more to the point. Let's see. Already the beginning is like the worst bowing we can imagine for us, like in the chansons. Bach is full of that horrible. So we don't. I don't want to hear the. You're right. Those are the moving notes there, so they shouldn't fall under the table. But you see. So dum bum 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 bum. I wouldn't even mind if you do. So if you play around with hooking it or separating, but definitely not having notes stick out. Also be aware the A string on any cello is much stronger than the other strings. So if you play unless you want this like this, but I mean, I should have asked you first. Do you want it? I mean, obviously you could do that. You could do pa da 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 da. That could be a, but then you have to sell it a bit better. Here it just looked as if you didn't take care that the A string is quite strong, and there should be still some kind of connection there. But sorry, I'm talking too much. Just play this beginning. Slow. I mean, I liked your tempo. That was all good, and you understand the piece. That's all perfect. I'm talking on the next artistic level, which I haven't reached either. I mean, I just recorded the piece just for my patrons. I didn't post it yet because I hated it. It's like also too square. I mean, it's so difficult because of these bowings to find this freedom, this inspiration. It's really, and in front of a camera, it's so much harder to be inspired than in front of an audience, a real audience. So I'm not a huge fan of streaming and online, and sorry. But enough talk. Just play it once slow and try to exaggerate them. Sorry. So go quite deep for the first note, and the third one have on a relaxed bow.
I skipped one.
Oh, that's fine. That's very good. But try to stay as close as the frog all the time. For now, so that you don't have to move up the bow. So. But slow would be out of the string and back. So then you say, oh, but it should be loud. You can even do. So really go deep. Don't do. So if you have this, you're in trouble. So the 2 and 3 or the 3 and 4 we can actually only do at the frog, because otherwise to get back is very difficult. Very good. Can you dare to get out of the string, like in, out? So like really lift the bow. I mean, exaggerating now. So and lead your elbow leads the way. So you go deep, out, deep. That was very nice. Your first one was fantastic. Then you don't use too much bow. Don't go. So, and when you are out, as soon as you hit the D string, move the bow back. So super slow motion, like the nice slow motions in sports when they go like, yeah, the dunk of whatever, Michael Jordan. Like. So I'm already using this to go back, which is also, it would be more in style. We don't have to be in the string all the time. We should be, it shouldn't be like this, but it shouldn't be this either. So you're like, so do one's very little bow. Show me one more time. That was somehow the sound completely left the. It's you're like I don't know 5 second latency almost, but it looked very good. Your elbow could go even a bit deeper, and I promise whenever I have to play something awful like Brahms double, like I consciously think like shoulder, arm. I mean, I'm not talking about elbow like this, but elbow like this. I mean, my teacher said it should feel as if we are reaching around a column, like here's a column, but so the arm doesn't go like this, like, but heavy there. So the heaviness. Do one last time, then I release you of this horrible exercise. So, yeah, that looked nice. Do it. Yeah, very nice. So I would slowly work on that, and then okay, let's see. Now let's say something more musical. God, it's such a hard piece. You had some very beautiful moments there with the. So as if you're talking to somebody, you're just really imagining telling somebody the story, a fairy tale or some other interesting or less interesting thing, but make it very interesting, as if you're giving away a state secret. Like, be our, what is John Bolton? Tell us about the room where it happened. Yeah, and actually what I just played, I didn't play it well, but it's really something, he takes us into a completely different world. So after all that crap there, I mean, for those people who don't know the piece, we're having to deal with the crap because we're missing a string. It's written for a 5-string instrument, as you obviously know, but maybe just, when I learned it, I thought, why not doing that fingering? So I have the open string, so it's like, if we would translate it into a 5-string instrument, it would be. So we don't have the E string. So I pretend that this is my E string. So I'm playing around this note. So yeah, all the time. It's easy. I mean, it's difficult. I think it's less difficult than your fingering, and musically, I think it makes more sense because you have always the E string as on the D string, but at least it's the same color. With you, the color changed. Obviously, it had to change because you're doing sometimes on the D, sometimes on the E. You don't have to try it now, but try it. It really makes sense, and it works quite well, and the hand can be quite still. I mean, you nail the thing, and then you go with the other stuff. Yeah. And after all that, you could lead us into a different world. So maybe play from here. So be as imaginative as you can be. Don't forget about that Bach was Baroque. Some very nice things there. So there was more of the freedom for sure. You could. What helped me trying to be quite aware of the different voicings, where you want to go, and with the harmonies as well. So if you have the so you have the F sharp, and then you have this. So that you even try to have this ring as long as you can. So you have kind of because it's polyphony. So we have only this one voice thing, but we try to get as many different voicing as possible. Also here. So we don't know that this is coming. So we suddenly have this E minor there. It's quite a surprise. So it doesn't mean that we have to stop or anything, but don't be too much on this train ride, like a Disney World thing. You know, you watch, you see all the things, but you can't stop. It's like over. Or Disney is a bad comparison, maybe. Just like taking a train ride through a beautiful landscape. It's really a pity because you would like to stop sometimes, and you can in that music. You can actually allow yourself not a full stop. It has to make obviously musical sense, but you can hesitate and this feeling of not knowing what will come next. Actually, that was. One of the best lessons I had with Bach was American pianist Robert Levin. Wonderful improviser. He can improvise anything on the piano. And he gave me the best lesson I had with the prelude of the Fourth Suite. And he went through the whole thing harmonically. And he said, look, that's how it would have gone, but Bach did this. And these things that you really, oh yeah. The sad thing is for us, this is all normal. I mean, we now... you may have heard Stockhausen and all these things. So Bach is nothing shocking for us anymore. But there are still surprises, and we should not pass them through. So maybe go from here once. and try not to get too much direction immediately. That was excellent. Very nice. Yeah. That's about this. And the danger is that you get stuck in a pattern. I mean, I'm talking from my own experience. Like, oh yeah, I like that. I'll do that again. And then you do it again, and then it's not spontaneous anymore. It's so difficult. That's why actually it's brutal. We have to practice. Obviously, it's difficult. We need to practice the notes. But if we practice too much the notes, then we get stuck in a corner. So I don't know the recipe how to keep it as fresh as possible while, well, I do have an idea, but I'm often too lazy. It's the best to practice many different directions, like a great jazz musician. I don't know if you know anything about jazz, I don't, but somebody told me once, they're not making anything up. It's just the better the jazz musician, the more little patterns he has, and the more genius he is, the quicker he can put them together and come up with some incredible shit. So it's a bit like that. You play it, you can practice it many different ways, and then in performance you become a great jazz musician or almost God, or you play Bach. You're Bach, making it up and doing as you like. And another thing I try not to even decide on bowings. So to be as free as you want to be with bowings. So often when I practice, I even practice note by note, just without any slurs. And then I add some slurs like 2 and 1, or 3 and 3, or 3, like so anything. I think your creativity should have no limits, and you practice like that, and you could come up with a version which everybody hates or everybody loves, or some of them love some, but they won't fall asleep. That's the most important. I mean, in your performance nobody fell asleep either, but it makes it even fresher if you mix it up and change. Last thing, I see Hillary already being like, you have to stop. When you go, let's see, sorry. Keep the momentum, the flow. Because you go until the music continues. Harmonically there's no reason to stop. At least I haven't understood it yet. So keep on going and then get larger, but don't stop with the first chord. Okay, we have to go to the next one. Thank you very much. Great playing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Brandon.
See you, and hopefully next time in live. Yeah. And good for you playing principal in that orchestra. When I was your age, I played in the German youth orchestra, and this changed my life. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for that orchestra. And if I may contradict you, Hillary, at the beginning, anybody playing there, the goal shouldn't be the soloists of tomorrow. The goal should be the great next musician of tomorrow, because solo is actually a crap job. What we want to achieve is to be the best possible musician we can be. If it's chamber musician, orchestra musician, teacher, soloist, it's all the same. There are bad musicians and good musicians, and you are a good musician and you want to be an even better one. Good luck.
Thank you, Brandon. All right, thank you so much. And so next, for our last performer, we are welcoming Cole Randolph. Cole just completed a degree in cello performance and math, double degree at University of Wisconsin-Madison. And he this year, after a national audition, he was selected to be the cellist in the Project Inclusion String Fellowship that Grant Park Music Festival offers each summer. So we're really excited to welcome Cole, and he will be playing Schumann's Cello Concerto No. 1, first movement.
Excellent, bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo, Cole.
Thank you.
Wonderful playing.
Thank you.
So you're not only smart, but also very good player.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I didn't interrupt after the development because I wanted to see what you do for the second time. Since it's all very well played, there are only very minor things to say. One thing is that I find it quite interesting to see if you can come up with other ideas when you play something for the second time, like the whole bum ba 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 bum. You could, I mean, there are different versions of anything. Obviously, composers write some dynamic indications, but often they don't. And even if they do, I think if you come up to play a parallel place in a completely different mood or different atmosphere, they would have appreciated. I think, I don't know if you know the story about Beethoven, but there are some letters of contemporaries of Beethoven. They say, "Oh, it's impossible to play with this guy. He's just so wild. I mean, he just doesn't stick to any game plan." And Brahms once, they asked him, "Oh, why didn't you put metronome markings?" He did at some points, but not always. And he said, "Well, I'm not playing the stuff always the same speed. So be as inventive as you can be, especially when things come back." Already when I was a child, I just did that in this crazy video I did about Bach. I quoted my worst experience ever in concert when I was 11, 12 years old. I listened to all the Bach suites. And it was the most boring experience in my life until today. I hated it so much that afterwards, I think for myself, I decided I cannot bore anybody. So I would always make up stuff. And just to don't say the same thing twice. So, for example, all these. So the next one, you could do that like this, and then the next one could be. Or the other way around, like. Sorry. And I mean, obviously it has to make sense so that the conductor can follow you, and you played it very senseful. I'm very grateful for that. You didn't do any of the bullshit lots of people do. You know the one when they do that, I mean, now with you, I didn't bet, but sometimes I bet with myself, like, he's gonna do that. And in 99% of cases, people take the break. It's so annoying because it doesn't make any sense. Musically, it doesn't make any sense. Da, 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 da. And you solved that very nicely. I forgot how you did it, but you did it. It's a bow thing. So you have to get back to the down bow or something. So thanks for that. But one thing. How do you feel about what Schumann wrote, metronome marking wise?
I feel like it's too fast. I feel like the metronome.
Sorry?
Well, I feel like the metronome marking is faster than I wanted.
No, the metronome. Okay, imagine there's this friend of yours and he shows up and he says, "What are you practicing right now?" And you say, "Oh, Schumann concerto." which it's a pianist. He doesn't know the cello repertoire. So your friend, the pianist, has no clue, and say, how does it go again? And then what do you do? How would you point out to him how the Schumann goes? Just sing the beginning. Ah, shit. Well, you're playing. Well, nice voice. But I think you sang it faster than you played it. I would even, well, maybe just because you just played it, I could even imagine that people who say like da 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 ya da di da di da da da, you know this one. And actually, there's a story. Schumann sent the score to a cellist in Frankfurt, and the score said, as it says now, not too fast, and the tempo marking was 140. So the cellist said, "That's crazy, can't play that fast, nah, 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 nah. Maximum 90 to 100, which is about what you played. This is about what Rostropovich and most other people play." So Schumann got furious. He's like, "What? Man, okay." So the Frankfurt cellist bargained him down to 130. So 130 is Schumann's last word, which doesn't mean we have to do it. I mean, the guy is dead. Who cares? He won't turn in his grave. And I mean, but also we are so used to how this is being played, this juicy, and I mean, and that's that's the one complaint I have. But I have that about the piece in general, that people play it in disregard of what Schumann wrote, but also too juicy. I mean, maybe it was the microphone. It all sounded very well how you played it, but very healthy. Okay. There is space. You can. I mean, the orchestra is not that thick. I mean, at points you have to really go for it, especially in the last movement. You cannot play too off the string. Especially in the lower strings, you have to dig. But here, all these little passages. How does it go? So it's much more this. I don't know if you know the word Sturm und Drang. It's this German thing. This I love you so much. A little bit effective, almost like and. Well, you probably know the writer Goethe, and he wrote this famous novel, The Young Werther. I think there's even an opera by Massenet. The guy was like, I have read the thing 40 years ago, so I don't remember. But he committed suicide at the end. So because he was in love. It's all this, all a bit over the top. And so actually, the story with the letters, a conductor told me. A young woman, I met her in Stockholm, and we talked about the Schumann, and she said, "Oh, did you know about the letters?" I said, "No." And those letters confirmed what I believed. So then I went onto Instagram and I recorded the first page, and I didn't manage. At first I did it, I thought I was quite fast, and I checked, I was 115. It's like, oh God, that was only 115. So I think, then I did it again, and I managed to fit it in 1 minute, the whole beginning in 1 minute, so I was almost 130. And I told the conductor, "So what do you think?" And she said, "Well, it's a bit breathless, but yeah, thank you for doing it, because that's what Schumann wrote." I said, "Yeah, but this is what he meant. It's not supposed to be like, it's really more this kind of agitated and a little nervous, and he was not, when he wrote it, he was not crazy. So I'm not going to bother you with that bullshit. Oh, Schumann was crazy. No. Shortly after. But at that moment, he was at a very good point in his life, the last good point in his life. I think he had moved to Düsseldorf, and he conducted the orchestra of the university or so, and they loved him and he loved them, and he got a lot of positive feedback. So he was on a high. So maybe he was even bipolar, I have no idea. So it's like, this kind of, so try once. And the beginning is piano. I mean, I started upbow, because for me it's much, and you have this accent on the A, so sure, that's breathless, but those are syncopations. So, and if we're in a if we're in the slower beat, those syncopations don't even happen. Actually, it's just like ta do ta do ta ta do ta, and well, try once. Try it in a bit more restless way, because you can play it anyway. So intonation, by the way, fantastic, super.
Okay. Should I start up bow or?
Try it. I find it much easier and much musically also it makes sense. But obviously you can do what you want. Very nice. And now, well, might be the silly software of our computers. Can you try it just as fun? Try it once in pianissimo. Really like super tender.
I was playing loud.
Okay. So I mean, and with pianissimo, I don't mean now flautando or something. With good, I mean, you still want to, you still think they're still playing there. So you need to have enough overtones, but maybe not quick bowings, but more like this. And not a big crescendo, not like, not this, but just like. I didn't like that. So try to do it better without the.
Sorry.
I know it's the worst figuring. That was very nice. Now, that was excellent. I mean, that's still like probably 110 maximum.
Yeah.
So just experiment with it at home. I mean, you are at home, but without the camera. Just to, I mean, he was such a wonderful composer, and with any music. I have played music by really crappy composers, and there sometimes I say, okay, I try to follow what they say, but come on, this Hans Pfitzner guy, idiot Nazi. So, well, he wasn't only a Nazi, but unpleasant guy, and I tried my best to make it work. It didn't, so I just ignored his metronome markings, and I tried. I mean, I have to sell the music, so.
That's true.
But Schumann was on a different level than Pfitzner, and he's definitely much better than me and Rostropovich and Bernstein and all those guys. So I would really try to value first, and then after a while. But I'm sure you never tried 130. But you grow up with this, as I grew up, and I played it always. I recorded the piece. I played far too slow because I couldn't really stand my ground to the conductor who wanted to the. But it's interesting, and I played it right before the lockdown. I played it in Stuttgart with the chamber orchestra, and we really went for it, and it was so exciting. It was probably the second biggest success I had with that piece. The first big success was when I broke a string, and then everybody loved the string breaking. But that was the next best thing to breaking a string. Isn't that cool? But then when you come, excellently played, and then you could switch the character. So take care when you do back and forth that they don't get too strong. So party. And if you really push the tempo, there's the time to change and to rest a little. So because it shouldn't feel rushed. in that Instagram thing I did, I tried to squeeze it in 1 minute, so I didn't allow myself to breathe there. So she was right, it was more breathless than necessary. Because 130 doesn't mean, okay, there's the metronome, dung, dung, dung. It means the general pulse, which goes like, and obviously you would never put 130, you put 65. Because if a composer says not too fast and 130, then he means in 2. Because 130 is fast, especially for that. But if it's in 2, it suddenly doesn't feel as pressured. And there you can also have a bit more freedom in between. And finally, you forget about the microphone. Do ones from there. It might be the microphone, but I'm also seeing you quite generous with the bow. Stay more introvert there, because this is there you're ha ha ha, but here you're again the more well. It's you have the masculine and the feminine side in this opening, yin yang, whatever you want to call it. So there you're the seducer or whatever you want to be, or the whisperer, but don't be too. I don't know how you play it, because this microphone thing, I hate this virtual thing. We need better equipment for actually doing it. I think Pinkas Zuckerman has quite a good equipment at place, but we are all not really prepared. We're using Zoom, no? Did you turn on the original sound and stuff?
Yeah, I did.
But you have external microphones?
I don't have it plugged in, because sometimes it's too bright and it messes up the sound.
Aha, but the internal, they still adjust the levels. So even if you play soft, it will sound loud. So, but I saw you also with a bit too much bow.
Yeah, I think that was
because. So you don't need much more. I mean, just as an exercise. At the end you can play fortissimo as you like, but try this one's really fragile. And what you know when the crescendo starts?
No. No.
On the high C natural. So actually you could even take this that could be the low point, this. And I think there's a little accent, but nothing else. So that could be just a vibrato accent, for example. And there comes the crescendo. The problem is the violins, the strings on that note, they have a half a note with a crescendo, which is the most stupid marking. The crescendo goes until the tutti. So I always tell the orchestra, please cut away that crescendo, because I'm starting a crescendo over 4 bars. If they do, then obviously we are in forte. So you could even really drive all the way into the tutti, which makes the life of the I don't know, I forgot what you did. Sorry, did you go straight? Because you didn't do the whole. This I remember. The da.
Yeah, but I didn't. I kind of pulled back towards the end of that, going into the tutti. So,
which also has to do with tradition. But as I told the Kaylee with the Saint-Saëns, it has to do with soloist waiting for the conductor and conductor waiting for the soloist. So sometimes these traditions sounds like a good thing. I call them bad habits because I don't know, you obviously know Gustav Mahler. He said tradition is the last worst performance. Or he said tradition is carelessness. And he also said tradition shouldn't be the adoration of the fire. No, sorry. Tradition shouldn't be the adoration of the ashes, but the conservation of the fire. So we need to understand what drove the people, but we shouldn't, oh, he takes time, I take time too. So you didn't do that. But this is a bit, I love that quote because it's what happens. People go like, oh, Furtwängler, and they don't understand where he came from and what drove him to do certain things. So that's why I'm pleading very strongly to take the music as if it has never been played before and you discover it for yourself. And then you might even end up with exactly the same rubato as Rostropovich did. But maybe you end up with something completely different and much nicer. I mean, Rostropovich, I love the guy, but there are different versions to any, or Elgar with Jacqueline Dupre. There's so many different versions to play. But these strong imprints of a piece do have a curse because we don't liberate ourselves. And you did liberate yourself with a... Are you planning on playing it with the orchestra?
That wasn't the plan. I worked on
because you're right, there's an accent on the G, isn't it? But forget about it because the G is on the A string and it's loud anyway. Your problem, if you ever played with an orchestra, will be there's a forte piano with the horns and with the bassoons. I mean, in both places, they have a forte piano there, so they should play not too much, and you really have to go. And this appoggiatura we also need to hear. So rather focus on that than on the one. And for this bridge, I always try to lead in this. And take care here. The appoggiatura, not so a little bit of and these one, I mean, I don't mind glissando, but yours were a little on the heavy side. I don't know if you glissed there, but there was two times. Don't, because this. Oh shit! Yeah. And when you, oh, you did the. Try not to. You have such good left hand. You don't need to do that. Okay. So, but there was one that I know she's getting nervous, Hillary. We're almost there. 3 more minutes. Or do I have to talk? Yeah, I would, I mean, maybe when there's a break, do the. But when it's all quarter notes, maybe really, it's different. The violas, I think they have it short, and we don't have it short. So do quite something different and stay in. And this transition maybe. I don't know, somehow I find that very hard. I was completely convinced what you did. How do you see it? What do you want to happen there?
I see it as bam ba da 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 dum. That's the closing, and then ba da da da. So I kind of fade away at the what is
Yeah,
it?
I like that.
Yeah, at the C sharp, I fade away and then come back in.
That's very nice. I mean, try to do that again and make it even clearer because I like that idea, but it didn't quite work out. Maybe even think of a different instrument coming in. So you really da 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 da. And if you want to take time, there's place to take time, for example. Definitely better, but try not to be also too real there. I mean, different instrument, but not maybe not trumpet.
Okay.
That was much nicer. Yeah, you can even take more time. And I mean, that's me personally. When I push those poor conductors for a quicker tempo, there I say, don't forget about the 130. This is a different story, and it's bit I don't know, more depressed and exhausted or almost giving up. The other thing is more, I mean, it's minor, A minor, but it still has more flowery stuff, spring-like. But this F sharp minor, there's more resignated somehow. And was there something else? No, I don't think so. So what are you're in medicine? Are you studying with Uri? No.
Yes, yes. I just graduated, so
Oh, wonderful. He's great.
yeah,
Well, if you talk to him, give him my best.
I will. I will.
Wonderful playing.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cole. That was wonderful. And thank you all for watching today. I just want to say a special thank you to all three of our students, Kaylee, Brandon, and Cole, for doing a wonderful job. And especially to our wonderful guest artist, Alban Gerhardt. It was really wonderful to hear your stories and see your enthusiasm and your energy for this music. It's infectious. So thank you. And
Thank
I
you.
just want to say, please visit our website, gpmf.org, to see all of the other virtual offerings that we have for you this summer. Our next virtual master's program will be on July 24th. It'll be a piano masterclass featuring Andreas Hefliger, and finally August 7th with violinist Christian Tetzlaff. So we
Oh,
look forward to seeing you next time, and thanks for everybody. Thanks to all the teachers and the families. It takes a village, so we really appreciate everybody coming together for this class, and we'll see you next time.